Hello and welcome to the 49ers First and 10 podcast presented by Cisco. 10 minutes of the most up-to-date 49ers news first thing in the morning. I'm your host, Brianna McDonald, and joining me is 49ers team reporter Lindsay Polaris and special guest Dallas Cowboys team reporter Nicole Hutchison. Thanks for joining us, Nicole.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to talk about this matchup. It's going to be a good one.
Yep, an exciting Sunday night football matchup just days away. But first, let's dive into the latest injury updates. Lindsay, how has practice looked over the past couple of days, and where would you grade the health of the team in this Week 8 contest?
Bri, I am so happy to report it looks like the 49ers are trending upwards. Guys are getting healthy. I know that the Wednesday injury report was a little bit daunting, but Thursday's practice report, a lot better. There was only 3 players that did not practice. That was defensive tackle Kevin Givens, still dealing with a groin injury, wide receiver Jawan Jennings, still with the hip, and then Jake Moody was not expected to practice. He's still dealing with that high ankle sprain. But the good news was that George Kittle was back in a limited capacity. He's dealing with a foot sprain. Same thing with safety George Odom. He's dealing with a knee. Wide receiver Deebo Samuel with that wrist and the pneumonia back in practice. Those are guys especially that you are happy to see back. Obviously, pneumonia, no small thing to get over, but to be able to actually participate in any capacity just days after being hospitalized, a positive sign. And then George Kittle actually ended up being the leading receiver out of Week 7. Definitely somebody that you want to be active on Sunday, especially given the injuries in the wide receiver room for the 49ers. Any extra pass catchers, obviously a positive.
Absolutely. Well, Nicole, who should we keep an eye on regarding injuries for the Cowboys?
Well, I think it's like the 49ers looking in the mirror almost. This Cowboys team is pretty banged up as well. But like Lindsay had mentioned, you have a couple of guys that are trending upward as well. I know Micah Parsons for sure and Deron Bland, they are definitely going to be game time decisions. So I know both of those guys did not participate in practice on Wednesday and Thursday. Both of them kind of been working with the rehab group. But some things to note is that Eric Kendricks, he was limited in practice. He's dealing with a shoulder injury, but I know that Mike McCarthy also mentioned that there's a good possibility of him possibly playing on Sunday because he is making progress. Kalen Carson, something to note as well. He's dealing with a shoulder injury, but he was a full participant Wednesday and Thursday. So those are the 2 key injuries I would say to look out for. But the rest of those guys, Nick Vigil, John Stevens, Stevens could be out for some time. He did not participate in practice because of a knee injury. It's the same knee, actually, that he injured himself with last year. So prayers up for him. But Nick Vigil, our backup Mike linebacker, he actually didn't participate either on practice on Thursday. So I'd say those are pretty much the key injuries to look out for.
All right, we'll keep our eyes for that final injury report. But Lindsay, it's Cowboys, Niners, so we've got to talk about it. This is a game that the faithful love. This is a game that the football world loves, clearly, as we play in primetime. How does the historical context of this rivalry influence the current mindset of both teams leading up to this matchup?
So I'm not sure if this happened this week, but I do know that in the past, highlights from this historic rivalry are shown to the players currently in the building just to help hype them up a little bit more. Not that a Sunday night football game needs any more hype up, but it certainly adds to it, right? Just to give everybody listening a little bit of historical context, 9 playoff meetings between these 2 organizations. The 49ers own the all-time series, but just by 1. It's 20-19-1 right now. But the Cowboys actually own the record when it comes to the postseason. So it's 5 wins for the Cowboys, 4 wins for the San Francisco 49ers in those playoff appearances. This is a decades-long rivalry, and I do feel like it's had a resurgence here in the 2020s, many recent meetings between the Cowboys and the 49ers. You think about that 2021 wild card and then that Week 5 meeting last season. So definitely a rivalry that's gotten a little extra juice over the past few years, and we don't hate it.
Definitely. Okay, Nicole, can you give us some insight to where the Cowboys are at following their bye? What were some of the goals the team had as they enter the second half of their season, and how is the team strategizing for that?
Well, something that has really been a struggle for this team is this run game. That's evident throughout the NFL. But I think that let me start with the bye week. They needed this reset. That was something that a lot of the players mentioned in the locker room all week long, and they feel a little bit more confident now that they've had this. I guess reset button that they've been able to hit, and you look at the success that Mike McCarthy has had post bye week. He's 3-1 as a head coach in the regular season for the Cowboys, and his head coaching record in the regular season post bye is 12-5. So he's had a lot of success making those adjustments. And one thing that he did also highlight is the biggest adjustment he's made is the cross the hall meetings. So you've had maybe the running backs meeting with the linebackers coach, or the linebackers coach is meeting with, the players, excuse me, the linebackers players are meeting with the running backs coach. And then you have the quarterbacks with Al Harris, secondaries coach. So they're trying to find out how they can improve and get that type of direction from a different ear. Speaking with Maris Leofau specifically, I was asking him about how has meeting with the running backs coach, Jeff Blasco, helped him improve. And he said it's helped him as far as like taking better angles when it comes to tackling. So I think that that's how they're trying to approach it, just making little tweaks here and there to kind of improve, and the specific things that they do need to improve. But I think the mindset, they're feeling a little confident. I mean, you not necessarily just because of the injuries that are on both sides of the ball, but I mean, they know that this history runs deep. You look at since 2000, the Cowboys are 7-6 with the 49ers winning 2 playoff matchups in the last 3 seasons. So they know what's at stake. They saw last year that, obviously didn't go their way, but post bye, they made the adjustments and had a lot of success. So they're hoping that translates this week.
Yeah, Lindsay, as you look ahead to Sunday against the Cowboys, a big time NFC opponent coming into town fresh off a bye, what do you think are some of the biggest challenges the Niners face against this Cowboys team?
I think the biggest challenge is just making sure that they can ramp up the offensive production. The 49ers defense certainly made enough plays to keep the 49ers in the game in week 7. But the offense, especially with, someone like Brandon Ayuk, top wide receiver option for the 49ers going down. Then you had Jordan Mason still coming off that AC shoulder sprain. So it's a lot of injuries, right, have been the story of the 49ers early. So I think the key thing of all this is making sure that that chemistry has been built, that communication is in line with the wide receivers that are very much going to have to step up in this game in order to make sure the offense has a successful day. So that's making sure Brock Purdy's in tune with Chris Conley, who he's made a number of plays with. It's more so the younger guys, Ricky Pearsall, who recently made his NFL debut. It happened last week. He didn't expect to play so much, ended up playing 76% of all offensive snaps. Then Jacob Cowing, again, also had a 41-yard completion. Ronnie Bell, a second-year player. Those are the guys that are really going to have to step up in week 8 in order for this 49ers offense to have a good day against the Cowboys.
All right, Nicole, now I'm going to flip it over to you. As you know, these Niners Cowboys games draw the biggest crowd. What are some of the biggest challenges the Niners present in week 8?
Ooh, everything. Man, we've been talking about it all week long. Let's just start with their pass rush, and this defensive line. They get pressure with just 4, and that's something that a lot of teams have had success with for this Cowboys offense, against this Cowboys offense. With Nick Bosa, you look at the 49ers, Nick Bosa, Leonard Floyd. Those guys create havoc for so many different quarterbacks and offensive line. So I think that the challenge they bring with Tyler Guyton, a rookie who's had his fair share of struggles all year long. And there's still a little question of whether or not Mike McCarthy will have Tyler Smith move out to left tackle like he had the last week before the bye week, and have TJ Bass move into left guard, or if he'll keep the rookie Tyler Guyton at left tackle and start. So there's going to be some movement there possibly. But also, you look at Cooper Beebe, who's also had a little bit of struggle as well. So this offensive line has their work cut out for them. And you also look at you guys' run game with Jordan Mason. I mean, one thing that I did notice just from the film is that he has a lot of success running up the middle. But that's something that I feel is more of a stronger suit for the Dallas Cowboys. The defensive tackles are more of a stronger suit for our defensive line. So if you guys were to maybe attack the edges like a lot of other teams have, which I'm pretty sure Kyle Shanahan over there is cooking up something good. So I don't know. There's a lot of different struggles that I feel like the Cowboys will have, but I think that these new adjustments that they've made will hopefully work.
Yeah, it's shaping up to be an exciting matchup this Sunday at Levi's Stadium. Thank you, Nicole, for joining us today. Don't forget to tune into the Cowboys vs. 49ers game on NBC's Sunday Night Football at 5:20 p.m. Pacific Time. Subscribe to First and 10 presented by Cisco for all your 49ers updates and turn on the notifications for any breaking news. Thanks for tuning in.